bada boom, bada bang, bada bop. We are back today with America's cheapest daily trainer on this episode of Hobby Jogger Central. Now, I don't know, we're back. Today I'm reviewing the cheapest daily trainer that I could find, $120. There's not a lot of performance or any performance running shoes that come in below this right now. So if you're looking for an alternative to super expensive shoes, you're in the right place. Also, an even better place if you want an alternative to super expensive shoes would be the Supple app, because you can get shoes like the Brooks Glizzy Max or the Nike Vomero Plus or the Asics Mega Blast for the price of this shoe, because somebody might buy one of those shoes, put a run on it, it doesn't work for them, and then they'll list it well below MSRP. Also, it's my app, so I have a personal investment in making sure that it's the best gosh dang app out there. And with that, we also have the best hobby jogger community. We're doing our community challenge right now, where you can answer one question per week and you stack a run or a walk every day for the next 4 weeks, and you have a chance to win prizes and to grind it out through the tough holiday season. So if you're looking to save a few bucks on running shoes, or you want to join the best community of hobby joggers out there, get in with us and enjoy today's video. Alrighty, we are back today with a completely random shoe review that nobody asked for, because we've run out of mainstream shoes to review. Nothing is releasing. Training videos don't seem to be moving the needle, and I think that's pretty much all the reason. So this is the Brooks Launch 11. It's been sitting in a box in my office for months now. Months. Why is that? Well, I bought it because there was a period of time where I reviewed literally everything that came out, and I don't know, was that a good strategy? Probably not, because nobody really cares about shoes like this, especially the sickos who tend to enjoy these reviews. So I bought it. I'm guessing I had other things to test during that time. I think this actually came out during the summer when there was a lot of hype new shoes, which seems to be the only thing that people want to see on this channel. But now there are no hype new shoes. They're only old, boring shoes, and this is one of them. So what is the Brooks Launch 11? Well, this is one of the cheapest running shoes you can buy. It actually is the cheapest mainstream daily trainer. It's the most affordable at $120 of any mainstream brand's core performance running offering. When I say core performance running offering, there are Brooks shoes, Nike, Adidas. Every brand has shoes that are $100, $90, $80, but you're not going to find them at Running Warehouse. You're not going to find them at your local running store. They're more budget entry-level shoes that aren't quite designed for high mileage training, for the purposes of how most people use performance running shoes. So this is the cheapest one at $120. There's actually one other shoe on Running Warehouse that was cheaper than this, and when I say that, I'm talking about MSRP, so retail, not on sale, which is something that we will talk about. But there's one cheaper shoe at MSRP than this. It was the Asics GT 1000, and that is a stability shoe, so it's technically just different. It's not really a daily trainer. It's more of a stability shoe for overpronation versus this daily trainer. So cheapest shoe, it would go up against something like this thing right here, Oka Rincon. Dude, this thing was absolutely horrible. This type of foam in here, whatever it was, it's a firmer EVA. Not good. And the thing is, the market has gotten so competitive now where, yeah, this is $120, but if you go up to $140, even in the Brooks lineup, you can get an awesome shoe like the Hyperion 3. This has a full DNA Flash V2 midsole. It's bouncy. It's decently soft. I would say it's in that Goldilocks zone. It reminded me of a baby Mega Blast. It's good for speed. It's decent for everyday miles, and especially if you're a cross-country athlete or track athlete and you just want a simple daily shoe to grind through 30 to 45-minute runs, something like this is going to be a banger and well worth the additional $20 over a cheap shoe, if the cheap shoe feels like a cheap shoe. And that's the main question with the Launch. Does it feel like a $120 shoe? Also, at that $140 price point, you can get something like this, the Puma Velocity Nitro 4. One of my biggest surprises of this fall, revisiting it, just how much I like it. Soft, bouncy foam, flexible, and again, only $20 more than the Launch. Now, if we look outside of the direct category, outside of the $140 price point, you can get shoes like, bang, this, which is the Tier Maverick, on sale. So you can usually find this for around $100 to $110, which puts it right up against something like the Launch 11. This is a faster, firmer, fun daily trainer, or even something like this, bit of a curveball here, Asics Gel Nimbus 26. Any last gen max cushion shoe or daily trainer you can often find for around $100 or $120. It doesn't have to be this one, but this is a really nice one. It's decently soft, but not too soft. Good roll to it, good bounce. It's more of a comfort-oriented shoe. Point being here, if you look at last year's models and you have a $120 budget, you could usually find value. So the value proposition of these $120 and $110 entry-level shoes, to me, sometimes I question them, because the other thing is, right, if you're the type of runner who even has two shoes and you buy a shoe on sale, not even necessarily the Launch, but if you do buy a Nimbus just because it's $90 and on sale, and you have a bunch of other shoes, is that a good deal if you're not going to run in it? So that's the whole thing for me. It's less about the actual price and more about the ride experience you're getting, because a $120, $110 shoe could be a terrible deal if the ride isn't good. So with that, I am hoping that the ride is good. I typically don't run in a ton of these entry-level shoes, but this is going to be a fun one because I haven't done this in a while. Let's open it up and see what we're going to get here. Bada boom. Woo! Bada bang, bada bop. Right away, I have to say, I really like the colorway of this. It's almost a Carolina blue with some Georgia peach. Yeah, we have the blue on the midsole and the blue on the upper here with the orange on the foam name, or on the midsole and the orange on the laces. I have to say, bro, right away, this is firm. This is firm. So midsole setup here is DNA Flash V1. So not the same thing that's in the Hyperion. The Hyperion here, the Hyperion 3, by the way, I can't get the, see, that's the lighting we need. Can we get it to, I think that's slightly better. I don't know. Yeah, it's not the same foam that's in here. This is the DNA Flash V2. It's significantly softer than the V1. I also found it significantly bouncier and more fun. So this is mainly that firm stuff, and boy, is it firm, just pushing it in. And then in the forefoot here, you do have the V2. So it's similar to, if you remember, the Adidas ID0 SL OG, you had the full length of the Light Strike with just, that's a deep cut for the sickos, but just the puck up here in the forefoot of the race foam. Similar construction here. That was a very firm shoe that some people thought was a brick. I actually liked it, but this does feel very firm, man. And that is the thing with these entry-level shoes. For some reason, a lot of them are just more firm. I don't know why. Maybe because with the entry-level shoe, you want something that's more durable. But yeah, this is a very firm shoe. Other things, upper is basic, looks comfortable, good padding in the back, good rubber coverage all around. Nothing too notable, but if you think about the positioning of the shoe, so I was actually on the Running Warehouse page looking up what they were saying about it, looking up the marketing copy. They're saying it is in the Hyperion line. So the Hyperion line is Brooks' speed lineup. That's the fast training lineup of shoes. So they're saying this is a sibling to that line. So it's positioned as a speedy entry-level option for someone who doesn't want to spend $140 plus on a training shoe. So with that, you still have a fairly aggressive geometry here. It is an 8mm drop. You have that race foam or high-end training foam up in the forefoot. Decent rocker for toe off up there, but because it's entry level, again, you have a bunch of rubber coverage and a more durable, hopefully more durable platform, and I can feel that it's not the lightest weight in the world. So with that, let us get our specs. The things I do for YouTube, man, I would rather just be running in the Rad UFO or Romero Plus. I've got to figure this out. I told Charlie yesterday I was thinking of hiring somebody else to make videos for the channel, and she said no. No, don't do that. So I don't know, man. I got me out here running in $120 shoes that nobody cares about for the daily videos. This is ridiculous. 257 grams in the Launch. Is that lightweight? I don't know. We have to see what the stack height is, because that seems lightweight, and that is lightweight if we just compare it to the market, but everything needs context, right? We need to contextualize these things. But let's compare it to his competitor here, one of the worst shoes, the Hoka Rincon, for just about the same weight. If you look at that, 252 grams. if we compare it to some of these more exciting shoes at the $140 price point, that feels a lot lighter. Yeah, 234 grams in the Velocity Nitro 4, a shoe that I would likely much rather be running in this morning. Nice soft feel too. I mean, look at this. Yeah, the difference in the push test between this and the launch. Oh my goodness. I'm scared to run the launch. I'm actually scared, dude. I might get injured or something. That thing feels firm. Hyperion 3, this is heavier, 264 grams, but you're getting more of a heel stack in here. We'll see just how much when we put it in the stackerator. So decently lightweight in the launch. Let's get a QA check on the other side here. So, ooh, look at that, 257. Do we have an exact match? 257 and, oh no, 257 and 255. So pretty good. That's a QA check pass. Let's do a stack check. Brooks Launch 11 stack check. I never thought I would see the day. This really might be the end of the daily videos. This might be the shoe that does it. It really might, man. It really might. All right. Let's see. I'm guessing it's around 35 based on what the Running Warehouse specs say. Ooh, 33.9. 33.9 on the left side. Let's get a right side check. 34.9, so some variation, but pretty comparable, also pretty low. Let's compare it to the Velocity just to get a check, because this one feels decently low. And I was talking about this, or somebody in the comments was asking about this, because they're saying, why is everyone saying that Velocity is so low, and back in the day we ran in 20 millimeter shoes? Well, the difference is this is going to be lighter than one of those back in the day shoes, because the foam compounds have just gotten so light in advance. Also, because of how soft it is, it compresses more, and you might get as much ground feel control and flexibility out of a 30 millimeter stack shoe in 2025 as you used to with the 20 millimeter stack shoe in 2010. So look at that. Wow, down at 32 millimeters in the Velocity now. So that's also fairly low. Let's check the Hyperion. This thing feels like, or looks like Max Cushion Gang. I'm guessing at least high 30s in the back. Ooh, 35. Okay, so Launch 11 is indeed one of the not only cheapest shoes, but lowest stack shoes. Let's lace it up and see how it does. Is this going to be the shoe that forces me to retire from YouTube? I don't know. Maybe it will.
I'm about to get plantar, bro. Plantar.
Really about to pull up in the Dave Ramsey 5000s, man. I can't believe it. Man, it's funny. I just put the Koros Pod 2 on this. I feel like the type of people who buy the Brooks Launch don't have the Koros Pod, or don't spend money on the Koros Pod. Because if you're buying a $120 shoe, you're likely not buying a $100 flashy Run Tech accessory. Anyway, oh my god, do you hear this? Oh, it's giving me the heebie-jeebies there, man. It's making my skin crawl. It sounds like an on or something. I don't know why it's so squeaky. Like an Alpha Fly. Maybe it's the rubber. Ugh. Horrible sound. Hopefully that goes away. But yeah, getting these on foot here, they are extremely firm. I don't know what I expected. I'm just hoping I don't get injured from this run today. And my plan for this run is to keep it extremely short. 6 miles only. And I'll get another afternoon run and something that is more pleasurable for my running preferences. But hey, maybe I'll be surprised by this. I don't know. Yeah, 6 miles, and maybe I'll throw some strides in there. But yeah, it is a very firm shoe underfoot. I mean, hopefully it has some pep to it in the front, because this is a lot of firmness. Holy cow. Fits true to size. Maybe a touch snug even. Slightly narrower toe box. But I would go true to size on this. All right, walk test. I hear rustling in the bushes over there. But yeah, this barely feels like a running shoe, man. This is super firm. We'll see. We'll just have to see. But yeah, I'm not too optimistic about this one, at least for my preferences. It feels very firm. Stability is good. I mean, it's fine. It feels like a basic sneaker. And if that's what you're looking for, should be good. But even the Brooks QA, look at this. The Brooks logo on the front here is stretched and squished versus this one, so not as refined as some of their other shoes. I don't know. Let's get some miles in it. A little 6-piece this morning. How bad could it be? How bad could it be?
I'm really setting this one up to have some sort of an underdog comeback story, huh? You know what this feels like? This is what I imagine running in a pair of Crocs would feel like. Yeah, that's kind of what this feels like. It's like I have Crocs on. It's a type of foam that this is. It's honestly not bad. It's a Crocs type beat. Early overreaction here. Solid B. Solid B, B minus. Not bad. Definitely not my first preference, but not a terrible brick. I can't imagine running more than 45 minutes in these, but I think for 6 miles, it'll be okay. I ran the Rebel last week. I think this is one step above. Firm for sure, but decent bounce actually. And because it's firmer, the protection is okay. Not horrible. Am I ever gonna run in this again after this run? No, definitely not. Absolutely not. Mile 1, hitting recovery pace today. It's 8:04. I don't know, it's fine. This really is fine. I think if somebody needs a basic shoe and they want something new and don't want to hunt for a deal, this will be fine. It will be. It's like if you need a commuter car to get from point A to point B. The Ford EcoSport will be fine. That's pretty much what this is. In terms of my personal preferences though, is not it. It's not it. This is not a Vomero Plus or a Rad UFO or a Tier Maverick. It's just not. It feels like a 1-speed shoe for someone who's running a few times a week and just wants something to go out there and crank. So today's a recovery day. I'm a little slower than I anticipated, at least getting out of the gates here. This is definitely not a jogging recovery run shoe. And this is the whole thing with shoe rotations. once you start having multiple types of runs on the calendar, you'll benefit from having a few different types of shoes. Also, man, I am tired. I'm just not feeling it today. Woo! It's just one of those days. I don't know why I picked this shoe today. It feels like punishment. It feels like punishment. This is a day where I want to be in the Nimbus or the Rad or the Vomero. It's straight up punishment, man. Why do I do this to myself? Also, with the heart rate monitor, I think I didn't connect it before the run because I had the run screen up for a few minutes. It probably disconnected, and it's just been tracking my wrist heart rate this whole time. I paused to see if that would connect it, and it didn't. So let me know, is there a way to connect the heart rate monitor mid-run? Oh, that was mile 2. 7:56, man, I am crawling this morning. Crawling. Once I got this thing going a bit though, 6:57 is not bad. Both of these foams have some nice energy return. I feel like this might be a nice treadmill shoe, treadmill speed shoe. The firmness, simple feel. It is honestly not bad. It's definitely not a comfort cruiser, but when I'm getting down to faster daily paces, not bad at all. Mile 3, 7:37. Yeah, this is really reminding me of the OG Audi Zero SL. I put 300 miles on that shoe. I really liked it. I do like some firm shoes, and this is a nice one. I haven't tested a lot of firmer daily trainers, and there's not a lot of good ones left. Issue with a lot of the firm shoes now, like the Ons and the Rincon, they don't have any pop. This is firmer, but it has pop, man. Good pop. Yeah, I'm a fan for what this is. I'm definitely not at my best, freshest today. I think I would enjoy this more if I were running a bit faster, but even just normal daily paces, not bad. I'm upgrading this to a B+. And that little puck of foam or slice in the forefoot, man, it gives you an enjoyable bouncy toe off. This is good. This is actively good. It's not a soft jogging or recovery shoe, but it's good for some firm, lightweight pep. One thing I'm noticing now that I have the wrist-based heart rate going today, because the arm didn't connect, seems jumpier. It just jumped from 150 to 139. Also, I'm tired today, so that could be playing part into the actual heart rate, but it does feel less reliable than the arm. And that's actually why I started putting the arm back on again, because I felt like switching from the Garmin to the Coros, the wrist-based heart rate was just super off. little surge Ibaka. Blocking the low mileage, boys. Little surge Ibaka, that marathon pace right there in the launch 11. Felt good. It doesn't feel like this is gonna have the same resilience. Just have a feeling this foam, even on that slight surge right there, feels like it's gonna lose that bounce quicker, not hold up as well deep into a run. But again, shorter, quicker runs, seems like it's gonna be perfect. Almost at mile 4 here, so it's passing the basic shoe test. Need a retie. Is it the laces or is it me? I don't know. I was just thinking though, I'll take these over the Rebel all day. All day. More support, more protection, more pop for me too. And it doesn't feel like I'm gonna bottom them out at 155 pounds. Man, I feel slow, heavy, irritable, and tired today. They should make an acronym for that. It's a shorthand or something. Mile 5, 7:35. Last mile here. I'm gonna hit some strides. It's a recovery day, but just 4 by 10 seconds. Open up the stride some. See how these do. I'm gonna wait till I turn around up here. See how these feel. Could be a one and done type of morning. Oh boy. Oh boy. Horrible. All right, all done. Hit a 4:44 on the last stride. Shout out Jay-Z. Yeah, not a great run today, but got it done. And shoe is solid. Very solid. It's the definition of solid, man. We need more solid stand-up shoes like this. A lot of shoes out here getting soft, sloppy lockdowns, sliding around all over the place, pretending to be something they're not. This is a stand-up type of shoe. It's exactly what it says it is. Unlike a lot of these shoes out there, and unlike a lot of these guys out there.
All right, well, I just got attacked by my wife when I got home, so I don't even remember anything about these shoes. I know to you it seems like I just finished the run, but that was actually something like 10 to 15 minutes ago. I had to go move a table, give her the handyman's number because the stairs broke, and then she has to go pick up Reevesy because he's not feeling well, which is not great. Maybe that's why I'm so, look at that, she's golfing the mom walking again, but maybe that's why I'm so slow, heavy, irritable, and tired today. Maybe I have whatever Reevesy has. Who you calling fair? Who you calling fair? Look, even the data says I'm trash today. 98% efficiency fair. I do think the not heart rate monitor being connected had my heart rate slightly higher, and it just looks, I don't know, look at that. It just looks spikier and jumpier with the wrist base. I think that is one area Coros can do better, and where Garmin has an advantage, the wrist base heart rate tracking. I always felt it was pretty accurate on the Garmin. Same thing with the Apple, but this one, not so much. It doesn't seem that it was cadence locking or anything today, but just not completely dialed in. Anyway, 259 feet of elevation gain. What else? 49 minutes, 6 miles, 3,700, 742 pace. Nice recovery run, slower, everyday aerobic run, relaxed miles. And these were solid, man. I'm telling you, it's not, I don't know, it's not a crazy banger, but Brooks does a really nice job with these. I've compared them to the Pittsburgh Steelers of running shoes. You know, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're always in the mix. Mike Tomlin always has them around 500. They win and lose the same number of games each year. They're always clawing for that wild card spot in the playoffs. They're never truly miserable. They often are not great or amazing, and they haven't been really making a run for it since Big Ben. was in the captaincy over there, but very similar to Brooks. They don't have very many horrible shoes in their lineup. Matter of fact, they only had one shoe that I hated this year, which was the Glycerin 22. And I know more people like that than dislike it, but for me, it was just a huge disappointment given that it was supposed to have the same foam as the Glizzy Max. And they do have some bright spots in their lineup, like the Glizzy Max, and even the Hyperion Elite 5 was solid. The Hyperion 3, really good. Hyperion Max 3, really good. So, man, Brooks's hit rate is just up there, man. They really do not miss. It's just solid shoe after solid shoe. So I'm a fan of this. Not my absolute number one preference in terms of the ride that it delivers, but for someone looking for a firmer, lower stack, more traditional shoe, this is really good. Might even be top 3, if not top 2 or 1 for what it's offering. Solid, dependable, reliable. You ever heard of the expression, the best ability is availability? It's mostly used in a professional development context or a sports context, right? You could have a star player who's the fastest, the strongest. Maybe he has the highest vertical, the most explosive, off the cut, the best three-point shot, the best hands of football. But if he's injured all the time, what good is that going to do your team? Maybe it's better to be a workhorse, lunch pail, hard hat kind of player in the slot, getting dirty, catching those balls in the center of the field every game, being consistent, reliable, and available, right? The best ability is availability. Or for a running shoe, maybe it's reliability. The best ability is a shoe that will just get you out there to run every day. So, man, I like this a lot more than I thought. Brooks Launch 11 is not a crazy banger. It's not soft and bouncy. It's not a crazy rocker shoe. It doesn't have 45 millimeters in the heel, but gosh dang if it's not reliable, simple, and a get-the-job-done type of tool. It's a hammer and a hard hat type of shoe, man. Shout out Pittsburgh. Shout out Kansas. Where's Warren Buffett from? Nebraska? Omaha? Is that right? Shout out Warren Buffett. Shout out the Midwest. Shout out the flyover states. Anyway, let's throw up the run this morning. Short and sweet. 6 miles, just about a 45-minute run. I think it was 47 minutes on the dot, and that's what this shoe is designed to do. So this is designed to be a lower stack, faster daily trainer that comes in at an affordable price point. It's really for the type of runner who wants one shoe, maybe one or two shoes, but mostly one shoe for that zone 3 or faster daily style of running. And you know what I learned recently too? A lot of these cross-country kids, they have one shoe and they'll use it for training and they'll use it for racing. So if your one shoe is the 1080, and there's a kid in the neighborhood who will come and run with me sometimes when he sees me, and he was running the 1080 as one shoe. If that's your one shoe, that's really not a great option for racing too. But a lot of these kids, they'll just get one shoe for the entire season, right? And if you're a part of a family on a budget, you're not going to be spending hundreds of dollars on shoes each year. It's like, no, with basketball, you have your one shoes. I never had multiple basketball shoes when I was playing. I had one shoe, right? So it's the same thing for cross country. It's the same thing sometimes for track and these other sports. You just have your gear and it gets the job done. So evaluating this from that context, if I'm a parent looking for a shoe for cross country, or if I'm somebody who's getting into health and fitness and wants something for the gym and running, man, this is fantastic. So solid. I just can't get that word out of my mind. Solid. Yes, it's firmer, but it's stable, and there is nothing wrong with it. And that's what Brooks is so good at doing, just creating these shoes that are flawless. It doesn't mean that they're crazy bangers. Again, the Rad UFO, the Nike Vomero Plus, the Adidas Adios Pro 4, they're more exciting shoes out there, but Brooks does a really good job minimizing errors. Error reduction. If you look at the QA check, and it's a silly, simple heuristic that I do, of course, the weight of a shoe doesn't tell us everything, and the weight from the left side to the right side, but Brooks is nearly always 1 or 2 grams different. Today was no different. It was 255.5 on one side, 257 on the other. So a very solid, reliable shoe with a nice ride. So ride experience of this is peppy, it's supportive, it encourages you to pick up the pace, and it doesn't feel too punishing at the slower paces. Now, I was averaging what? Let's throw up the splits. I think a 742 pace. Yeah, it's on my watch still. 742 pace. So I've been running my daily miles slightly faster recently ever since I've recovered from the marathon. And for a lot of the summer, I was at 130 and 140 miles. So pulling it down to 100, this is a lower mileage level for me now. And people had all sorts of things to say about the mileage, but this is the thing, right? If you train consistently at a higher mileage level and then you pull it down, 100 for me feels relatively smooth and simple and light now. So I'm able to run my miles slightly faster. So this was a recovery run. 740 is not the most comfortable shoe for that style of running, but it's not designed to be, right? So I come down here, I actually switched into the more V6. This is way more comfortable for a walking shoe and for something that you just want to have that plush experience. That's not this. This is firm. It's a bit harsher, but it's not too punishing. And the positive of that is once you pick up the pace, there's some good pep. There's some good zing on the forefoot. And the little puck of top tier training foam, so the DNA Flash V2 in here, I'm actually not sure exactly where it is. If it's, it looks like it might be up in here. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly where it is, but I have to say whatever they've done with the toe off experience makes for a really nice ride when you get it going off the front. So 6 miles, steady aerobic pace, and then I did some strides. It was good for the strides. It wasn't mind blowing or anything, but that type of running, that type of a technique or an exercise is more so about mechanics, and the shoe didn't alter my mechanics or do anything weird with it. So a really good tool for just getting in the miles and getting out there and running. I'm sure this would be a fine workout shoe for somebody who wants something simple. Feels very reliable. It doesn't mess with me in any sort of way. The foam doesn't feel too soft and mushy, and I can get it going when I want it to. Reminds me a lot of that original Adidas SL, and much better than things like the Rebel, which I found are just too mushy, not protective enough, and also better than the Pegasus, man. This has way more pop than the Pegasus. So in that segment, this is a winner. This is one of the best shoes in what it is trying to do, and it comes in at $120 plus slightly firmer ride. And I think a lot of people out there, the traditionalists, they miss having a shoe with more bite and with firmness. A lot of the shoes, even the Velocity Nitro, because in the 3 that was a firmer shoe, they've shifted to being softer. A lot of shoes are moving to softness. This one is a nice option that provides an alternative. So really good for what it does. And I love when I get these shoes in here that provide something different. No, this is not my all-time favorite shoe. It's not gonna make my top 5 favorites of December or November. It wouldn't knock out any of the shoes that I put on the list yesterday, but for what it's offering, very good. Very good, if not the best. I can't really think of any other firm, lower to the ground daily trainers this year that really blew my mind. I guess the Aeroblaze is another good one, but this undercuts it by $20. So if stuff like that does matter to you, the $20 is gonna make a difference, then man, this is gonna be a great pick. So let us go through those 3 questions and close it out, as we always do. First, how does this shoe compare to its intended purpose? So designed to be a fast, simple, streamlined, firmer daily trainer. It does a really nice job. It's not the fastest shoe out there. It doesn't have the most speed assistance out there, but I also think with the type of person who's gonna buy this, either out of necessity or because they're attracted to it, they likely don't want the craziest shoe, right? So the necessity camp, either a cross-country runner or someone who's just getting started out running, I wouldn't recommend a crazy 50 millimeter stack shoe for your one shoe. If you just are gonna have one singular shoe to get the job done, I would recommend something simpler. This, the Velocity Nitro. When I was starting out, I had, I think, the Adidas Ultra Boost. I also had that Nike Epic React, but it's nice to just have something simple when you're starting out. You don't need a bunch of crazy stuff. That's not to say, oh, you need to run a certain pace to have a rotation, or you need to be running a certain number of times to have multiple shoes. No, if you like the culture of it, get as many shoes as you want. But in terms of need, in primary use case and ideal use case, for someone who's running 3 times a week for fitness, also wants something to the gym, for the gym and walking around, this is perfect. Now, I do have to say, downsides of it for casual use, not the most comfortable. This is not the shoe that I would be taking out for walking around. The Hyperion 3 is a lot more comfortable. The Ghost Max is a lot more comfortable if we're talking Brooks. The 1080 is a lot more comfortable. What I have on my feet right now is a lot more comfortable. But for performance, for a simple performance shoe, meaning speed runs and also the gym, this is great. Which brings me to question number 2. How does this compare to the other shoes in the category? Now, not a lot of brands have an entry-level shoe at $120. So we could put this up against the Adizero SL, the V2 at $130. We could put it up against the Rebel, maybe even the Brooks Hyperion. This feels a lot simpler. This does feel a lot more basic. It feels lower to the ground than a lot of the category other than the Rebel. And it also feels firmer. So that's the headline here. Firm and simple with some speed capability and a legit shoe. Now, the other thing that I would say is a demerit at this $120 price point, and with this shoe versus the shoes once you start pushing 140, 150, 160, a lot of the 140 plus shoes, they're just more capable of mileage. These more basic shoes, and I would put the Pegasus in this camp as well, they're not great for going past 45 minutes, and this was fine. I went 45 minutes today. I was actually considering extending it, going to 8 miles, but I decided not to. It's a recovery day. I don't need to be a hero. It was fine, but it's not a shoe that I'm going to reach for a 10-mile run or a 12-mile run. You can do it. I mean, I ran a 27-mile run last year, a 27-mile long run in the Streak Fly, so you can do it. But just in terms of what's optimal, what's going to be the most comfortable, what's going to be the most enjoyable, no, this is not the shoe that I would pick if I were trying to increase my mileage and do a lot of 10-mile runs and 12-mile runs. Something like the Ghost Max from Brooks or even the Hyperion 3, that's where I would spend the extra $20 if you are doing a lot of hour to 90-plus minute runs. Hyperion would be a great pickup. Just buy the 140 shoe over this if you're going to be doing a lot more mileage, trying to get out there, extend those runs to 90 minutes plus. So that's really the downside of this shoe versus the category. But versus the Rebel is firmer, versus the Velocity is firmer. Also 8mm drop, so that's something that it has on the Pegasus with that 10mm drop. It doesn't feel like the heel is getting too much in the way, but you do get enough protection. And again, not too punishing and works well for a variety of foot strikes. Now, I do think it feels the best midfoot to heel, and the roll is nice. The forefoot is okay. For the strides and everything, it was good too. I don't know, it can work for a bunch of foot strikes, but just given you don't get the most protection up here in the front, especially if you're an adult hobby jogger, likely not going to be your favorite as a forefoot striker. But if you're a lighter on your foot kid, or you're buying this for your kid who's running cross country or a teenager, not going to be too bad. But for somebody who's a later in life adult hobby jogger, if you like more protection and you're landing on the forefoot, would not be my recommendation. Again, this is when it makes sense to spend the extra 20 to 30 bucks and go for something more cushioned, or buying a last generation max cushion shoe. And I will be doing the November deals list soon, so stay tuned for that. Now, question number 3, how does this compare to everything else on the category? And this is where I'm saying, man, if you're a traditionalist, if you're someone who's been running for multiple decades and you don't love where the market is going, or you just want an alternative to the softer, rockered, higher stack max cushion shoes, this is a really nice pick. I've been running a lot recently in the Rad UFO, basically totally opposite end of the spectrum as this. Now, it's actually pretty similar in weight to this. I think it's only about 20, maybe 20 grams heavier, but that has 47 millimeters of foam, I think we measured in the midfoot. That has a crazy rocker and heel bevel. That has a dual foam Piva, feels very plush. This 8mm drop, that also has a what feels like a 4 to 5mm drop. This 8mm drop, so higher drop, firmer, not as much of a rocker. You do get the toe spring, but flatter profile. So this is an antidote to a lot of where the market is going. I'm not here to shame anybody for their preferences. You should run on what you like. The whole Barefoot Mafia thing, I've said this before, but the reason I created that is because randoms would come up here talking about how I needed to strengthen my feet. Meanwhile, I'm putting together 100-mile weeks. I think my foot strength is fine. So I don't really care what anybody runs it. If you don't love where the market is going, if the thought of running in a more V6 or a Vomero Plus is not appealing to you, or you want an alternative to those, this is your shoe right here. It's really nice for that. Got a helicopter. Whenever I see those, I wonder where they're going. Also, I'm hungry, man. I thought this was a food delivery coming from my neighbors. It's actually some sort of, my neighbor runs a flower business, so I think it's some sort of assortment of floral goods. But yeah, very solid shoe, man. If you're a traditionalist, or if you're someone who wants one shoe and you don't want anything too crazy, this is a nice pick. You can find shoes for under $120 on the Supwell app and on Running Warehouse with our discount code if you're very budget oriented. But I know not everybody out there is is going to do that. Also with these reviews, sometimes it's just an academic exercise. I don't think anybody watching this video is actually going to buy this shoe. So it's the academic exercise of how does this shoe stack up to its intended purpose? All those questions, right? And looking at it just from that frame, purely academic, man, this is an A-, B+ in terms of what it's delivering. I think it would be hard for me to give a shoe like this at $120 an A+, but there's not a lot of flaws for what it's offering. Maybe it's an A+ for its intended purpose, an A for against the category, and then it's a B+ versus the market, or maybe a B to B- versus the market, because it's just a basic shoe. But in terms of the exercise of just theoretically, for somebody who's going to walk into a Dick's Sporting Goods or whatever store and they have a budget of $120, is this a good pick? Yes. To the academic question, it's like, I'm like a hobby jogger. If a hobby jogger reviews a $120 entry-level daily trainer and nobody watches it, did it even happen? Yes, this is a good shoe. It's a solid shoe for what it is. I'll give it a thumbs up. I don't know if I'll ever be running in it again, but very solid pick. And if anyone from Brooks is listening, nice job. Good job, Brooks. I think that is all I have for you today. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Brooks launch is really solid. Staunch. You boys getting soft. Punch. All right, well, one more thing. In full transparency here, I thought I should show you. This was a 100%. Can you see that? 100% user error. I put on the heart rate monitor and the optical sensor was facing out. So that's why it wasn't working today. That was not a Koros problem. I literally had it on backwards. So that's a me problem, man. I got a lot of problems.